Are you looking for a deeper understanding of life? Vedanta Wisdom Trust and Rishihood University present Awakening Wisdom, Insights on Life from the Bhagavad Gita. Join us for a 1-month residential certificate course and explore the timeless wisdom of the Gita. You will be part of a vibrant learning community, exploring the ancient teachings of the Vedantic tradition in a modern setting. Our experienced faculty will guide you with their unique approach towards understanding this complex philosophical text. This is your chance to discover and experience the power of the Bhagavad Gita. Join us at Rishihood University starting 1st July 2023. Visit www.vedantawisdom.in to know more. Are you looking to explore the depths of the ancient wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita? Join us this July at Rishihood University for our 1-month residential certificate course titled Awakening Wisdom, Insights on Life from the Bhagavad Gita. Our course will guide you through the text of the Gita, exploring its philosophy and practical applications for everyday life. Learn from Dr. Janki Santok, senior disciple of Swami Parthasarathi, with over 3 decades of experience in the field, and deepen your understanding of the truths of life. Don't miss this opportunity to experience the magic of this timeless wisdom for yourself. Visit www.vedantawisdom.in to know more.
Sahanam bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam paravavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vitvishavahay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we'll chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verses 1 to 10.
अथ द्वादशोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ता ये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तम् तेषां के योगवित्तमाः। श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया परयोपेताः ते मे युक्ततमा मताः। ये त्वक्षरमनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवम् सन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामम् सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम् देहवद्भिरवाप्यते ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम् मय्येव मन आधत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततः मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि
Arjuna's question was, should I worship the form or the formless? Krishna's response was, the form is better, the formless is more difficult. These are the qualities required with the form, these are the qualities required with the formless. But the more important thing are the qualities, are the sadhana, are what you're doing about it. There's any amount of people in this world who will claim to have love of God. If all those people lived that life, would this world be what it is today? Claiming love of God is very easy because 90% of our love of God is like we have hired him like some kind of agent in the fulfillment of our desires. So we tell him, Acha, you fulfill my desire, or usme se 5%, 10%, मैं दे दूंगा. It is our attitude towards God. So he says, it is not whether you believe in this God or that God, in form, in formless. All these is just theoretical, abstract concepts. What is important is, what are you doing? Or what is that life you're leading? Because that life that you're leading is going to make the difference in your life. So he explained that to us in verses 6 and 7, that those who worship me means pursue me, renouncing all actions to me. What is renouncing all actions to me? It means that you're not interested in the action per se. What you're interested in is reaching the self. So you renounce the action. Renounce the action means your interest doesn't lie in that action. Your interest lies in reaching him. Regarding me as supreme. This is a very difficult one. Regarding me as supreme. You know, most of the time, we say, yes, God is supreme. If I ask you, is God supreme? Everybody in this class will say God is supreme. But if I tell you, come on, take some time out of your life to worship only God. You'll say, no, I'm very busy. I've got too many things to do. I've got this, I've got that, I've got this, I've got that. Why do we say that? Because in our hearts, God is not supreme. Something else is supreme. Supreme means I will drop everything in the world for that. That is what it means when you say the Supreme, which is what we do, right? Suppose we say that I can't come because I have to go to work. You're dropping God to go to work. So you think that your work is supreme. Suppose no, I can't come. I have to look after my mother. That means you're dropping God to look after your mother. Whatever you call supreme is not what is supreme. It is that which you're actually working for, what is in your real mind supreme. It's a very interesting thing that when I've been telling people, as you all know, please come for the July course and try to get a little more involved in what is the main purpose of your life. And it has been such a wonderful journey because I'm hearing what people are telling me. And it is so interesting. One person told me that I can't come because I have to do extra. I said, but why can't your sister, your brother, why can't they also do this extra? No, they are busy. Do you understand what that means? Their busyness is valued. You're going to do something what you value is not valued. So it's a very, very interesting journey. I know many of you also have called up your fellow students, and it's nice to hear what people say. And I hope it's been a philosophical journey for you as you have spoken to people, chatted with one another, said, spoke to people, heard it. How philosophical it is, how easy it is to claim, how difficult it is to actually believe. To actually believe means, what are you willing to sacrifice for it? What are you willing to sacrifice? So that's what it means regarding me as supreme. Regarding me as supreme means I'm willing to sacrifice everything for it. Please, you're not asked, okay, don't misunderstand. You're not asked to sacrifice anything and do funny things, nothing. It's the willingness. When Swami Parthasarathi wanted to join Swami Chinmananda. Okay, so he was, as you know, he was born in a very rich family. He had a very good job with SO, and now he wanted to join Swami Chinmananda. So Swami Chinmananda told him that, no, you can't join me because I have a simple rule that married people cannot join the course. A simple rule. So you are not free. So sorry, I can't take you for the course. I mean, I'd love to take you for the course. You're a perfectly eligible student, but married people I'm not taking. So he says, okay. And then, of course, he continues his studies. He does all this thing. Later on, for the Pavai ashram, they needed a driver. So Swamiji asked him, in Swami Parthasarathi, asked Swami, he wasn't Swami Parthasarathi then, he was simple Parthaji then. And then he asked him, it's okay if the driver is married, right? So Swamiji said, yeah, it's okay if the driver is married. He said, okay, then I'm applying. He's applying a job as a driver. I hope you realize what that means. It is like, I don't know, somebody from the Birla family deciding to take a job as a driver in some ashram somewhere. Can you imagine what a come down it would be for him? He said, I'll apply. And then Swamiji actually took him into the course. But the thing is, what are you willing to sacrifice? And so other people objected. How can you take him? He's married, because he was the only exception. So Swami Chinmananda gave a very interesting answer to this. He said, you are saying he's married. In his heart, this is his cause. He's not. I don't remember those exact words, but when I heard them, I was amazed. He doesn't need to physically leave his family because the detachment is in his heart. So actually his family went with him. As you know, Amma and Sunanda at that time went with him to the ashram and stayed there. And Swami Chinmaya said there was no need to leave physically because in his mind he's detached. Isn't that an amazing thing? Happy then this verse is very unlikely that somebody from Vedanta who's interested in Vedanta will simply divorce their family like that. The thing is, you don't need to. And when we say you're detached in your heart, people say, oh, you must be so hard-hearted, no? No. The detached people are the loving people. What is the opposite of detached?
Involvement.
Opposite of detached, Milind.
Attached.
Love.
What? Who said love?
I did.
No, I can't see you only. Who? Correct,
Free.
Bharat. Opposite of detached is?
Attached.
Attached. And attached doesn't mean loving. At least so much you must have understood in Vedanta that attached people are not capable of loving because
they want their own desires fulfilled.
Yeah, it's because you're attached.
they're too busy being in love with themselves.
Yeah.
So opposite of detachment is attachment. Opposite of detachment is not love. Detachment equals love. That means you genuinely put that person above yourself. So once you have that in your heart, whether you have a family, you don't have a family, whether you're a multi-billionaire, whether you're a poor person, whether whatever your world is, it doesn't matter because your sights are set straight. So what does it mean that your sights are set straight? What is it that you have now? What is it that you're now able to see?
Your goal.
Say it properly. What are we discussing?
Your
What you regard as supreme.
Yeah.
What you regard as supreme. That is what has been put in place. And if you're regarding anything other than the self as supreme, then you are not falling in this category. Yes, Uttara.
Janki ji, can you hear me?
Hmm.
So Janki ji, you said that we have to decide our goal and our call of duty. So there is a story of Pundarik, Vithala and Pundarik. So we say that God came to his door, but he had no time to look at God because he was busy serving his parents. So then you said that, okay, we have to decide. So if we put our family first and we feel that that's our duty, then what is wrong?
Guru Gobind dono khade kaake lage paun. Balihari Guru apne jin Govind dev mila. You understood? Nobody, no non-Indian here today. What happened to all our non-Indian friends? We don't see them nowadays so much. Everybody, you all understand? Guru Gobind dono khade. God and Guru are both standing in front of you. Khake lage paun. Whose feet shall I touch? So says Kabir. So Kabir decides, I should touch the feet of the Guru and not of God because the Guru took me to God. So same idea. Are we going to consider any aspect of the world more important than the Lord? Answer is no. Are we going to consider our concept of God as the most important thing? Answer again is no.
No, I'm not clear, Janki ji, because
Yes,
you
I
were
know
saying-
you're not clear. It's my job to confuse you. It's never my job to give you clarity. You have to get your own clarity. My job is to confuse.
yes, where there's no confusion, there's no enlightenment.
Correct. So you get your own clarity. Understand it carefully. God is supreme. Okay? But your concept of God is not supreme. When you are doing, it is actually, Uttara, you're asking exactly the same question that we just did, which is good because that means you're beginning to think about it. He said, shall I worship form or shall I worship formless? He said, you idiot, forget about form and formless. You do what you need to do. He said that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Now he's saying, regarding me as supreme. So you must be able to understand where he's talking from, which is why systematic study is very, very important in this subject. The goal where we have to reach is the ultimate yardstick for all this. Okay? But what you have to do has to be determined by what you think is right. So what you think is right is your methodology of reaching there.
So if serving family, I feel that right now my purpose of life is serving family first, and by doing it, I'm doing it like, as you said, we do karma, we do not expect the result. We put our whole best efforts in, because we have decided that that's our priority right now, serving the family, because we are the head of the family and we have to look after this and whatever. And through that means of reaching our goal of supreme, right? Because you feel right now that that's your purpose of life.
Yeah, so as long as you call anything other than the Lord the purpose of your life, it falls out of the bracket of what he's talking. There is a
No,
big
because
difference.
it is about our karma, as we say, paradharmo bhayavaha. So then, if we feel that this is my dharma right now, see, our dharma keeps changing.
Don't throw thousands of concepts. Understand a simple concept.
Okay.
It's not a very complicated thing. Don't give me examples here and there and not to justify any stuff.
No, my confusion.
Very clear. Yeah, I understood your confusion, and it will last. It's not like after I answer you now, you're going to get it. But for what it's worth, let's try one more time. You're going to have to struggle with this, Uttara. It's not like this knowledge descends on us so fast. The Lord is supreme. There is nothing in this world worth attaining. There is nothing in this world worth doing. Everything here is a bunch of rubbish. Everything, family, guru, everything is rubbish. There is nothing that's part of this world that is worth doing. IIT is rubbish. Writing books is rubbish. Taking Vedanta classes, the whole thing is nonsense, idiotic, and makes no sense. Setting up the Vedanta university is rubbish. Everything in this world is rubbish. Only one thing in this world worth doing is attaining the self. That's all that's worth doing. Now, to attain the self, I can fall in love with the conceptual and say, oh, I must do this, I must do this. Or I can set for myself a plan or program to reach there. What am I doing? So the first step that I take to do that is find my own swadharma, my own nature. Let us say my nature is to be a housewife. So now I'm going to be a housewife, but for what purpose? It is to realize the self and self alone. For no other purpose am I doing this. So as a housewife, what have I got to do? I've got XYZ duties to perform. Of course, I will perform those. But what happened about my goal of reaching there? I have to know how they are connected, no?
Yes.
Once I know how it is connected, and then I choose an action based on that, that will take me to that goal. Otherwise, every housewife in India, she's very dedicated to her house. Which mother in this country is not dedicated to her children? The vast majority are. I mean, there are some horrible cases. One fellow murdered her, one lady murdered her husband, somebody murdered her child, all sorts of stuff goes on. But the vast majority are all very dedicated. What was your mother and my mother and everybody's mother? They did nothing but look after their children and their husbands. Made beautiful food, called all the relations over, gave them beautiful food. I mean, that's what they do. So did they realize the self?
No.
So you have to know. I have to know. Jay has to know. Priyabhi has to know. What is that thing which if I were to do, it will take me closer to the self and I have to work backwards from there. And then I've decided, okay, so this is the action that's going to take me there. And I do that action. Then I am regarding the self as supreme. Otherwise, everybody in attachment is doing all the things that they do. Nobody is proceeding further.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, Priya, supreme will be the ideal. Varsha, he was serving God by serving his parents. He was putting the sadhana above the concept that he had in his head. If God comes to your door, there's a saying in Zen, which is a beautiful saying. If you meet the Buddha on the street, kill him. Have you all heard that one? And do you know what it means? If you have not heard in class and you can understand what it means, then please, you've already heard it, then don't. You meet the Buddha on the street, kill him. What does it mean?
Don't fall in love with your concept.
Or maybe the Buddha will keep you away from your goal, where you're going.
The Buddha is not something out there. It is something in here. Who are you meeting on the street? Kill that idea. You're not meeting anyone outside. There's a story also of who was it? One of the children bhakts, you know, his mother told him, I think it was Dhruva, one of the child bhakts. And
Yes, Dhruva.
Dhruva, no? They said that he was not allowed to sit on the lap of his father. And so his mother told him, you go and ask for Vishnu. Narayana will help you. So he goes into the jungle and he starts and start chanting, remembering, meditating on the Lord. And then the story goes, that's Swayam Narayana came in front of him. Narayana came in front of him and stood. He wouldn't open his eyes. And he said, Narayana said, open your eyes, Dhruva, I'm here. So Dhruva said, no, wait, my mom told me you're inside me. What are you doing outside? If it's really you, come in. Why are you outside there? So, same thing, Varsha. Pundarik did not appreciate an external thing. He wanted the internal. In other words, self-realization is knowing yourself. It is not seeing anything. It is like the waker, like the dreamer waking up to be the waker. Suppose the dreamer tells you, I met the waker yesterday. I had breakfast with him. Then you'll say, Ye to bhi pagal aadmi hai. You can't. The dreamer cannot meet the waker. The dreamer is the waker once that illusion has fallen away. Is that clear?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chandran.
Namaste, madam. Madam, could I carry Uttara's thought process a little further? She wants to take care of her parents, fair enough. And my goal is to reach the self. But chapter 4 gives you those 12 methods of converting your action into worship. That is karma. And yoga is for the union with God. So I do my karma of serving my parents with the thought being that I'm doing it with the aim of reaching the worship, that Agni Kunda and all that would that have also apply here? Could apply here?
No. Suppose I say, I am sweeping this house with the hope of becoming as rich as Bill Gates one day. Am I going to achieve it?
No.
If I say, I am going to be walking on all fours from today in the hope of understanding, but with the goal of understanding astrophysics. You can't take up an action and superimpose some goal on it because you won't achieve that goal. You have to work backwards. You have to have a goal and figure out what will take you there.
But my goal is fixed. I want the self. But
Yes,
today
but your actions are not. There's no, what is your connection between this action and the self? Let's not give you the example, right? Suppose I say, from today, I'm going to walk on all fours. And my goal is to learn astrophysics. Will I reach my goal?
No, madam.
So I can't say, I'm going to serve my family with the goal of reaching the self. Am I going to reach the self?
So you can't convert action into worship.
No.
Connection.
You have to have a connection, no. Otherwise, any action, anything, anyhow, anywhere, Ravana went and picked up Sita and said, okay, I do this for God. Okay? Pagal hai kya? You can't just say any action, any connection. There has to be a cause-effect relationship, right?
Okay.
Unless that is there, that is why spiritual life has become like so easy for everybody. Jo man mein aaye karo and say I'm doing it for the self. Who is to question you? It doesn't work like that. You don't achieve a goal by choosing an action and claiming this will take you there. You decide the action based on whether it will take you there.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Varsha. So serving parents was his part of his karma yoga on his path to self-realization. I guess so. I mean, I don't know enough of the story to make any statement about him, but yeah, he has to understand what he's doing, right? What he's doing, why he's doing it, why has he chosen this particular form of service. There has to be some sense in this. It's not a madhouse where anybody just waking up and doing whatever they feel like doing and then claiming that this is all for the self. Mahendra Singh. Mahendra Singh, are you new to class? Are you Mahendra Singh Dhoni? Mahendra, are you new to class? Is this your?
Yeah. I joined
First
today.
time?
Yeah, first time.
Okay. So the whole effort of Vedantic wisdom is to bring one's focus from object outside to subject inside. Yes, that is correct. That is largely correct, Mahendra. That is correct, but I don't know what you mean by this. These kind of sentences often lend themselves to misunderstanding. So therefore, we have to be very careful what they mean. What it means is that it means different things at different stages of the journey. When it comes to dealing with actions, it's learning to understand. The focus on myself means learning to see whether my actions are meant for you or for myself.
True. Yeah.
It's not meant to be like, oh, the action is for me. Am I able to see whether this action was genuinely done? At the emotional level, it is my capacity to see whether my agitations are being derived from something that I did or something that you did. At the intellectual level, it's the ability for me to think for myself instead of just being influenced by a whole bunch of things that everybody else has to say. And at the spiritual level, it means self-realization as a goal, as opposed to any acquisition of anything in this world. So that's what it means. If that's what you meant, then yes, that's correct. But usually people bandy these words around and it's not really very clear what is it supposed to mean. Keep your focus inside means do what? Not very clear. That is why we always recommend systematic study, so that you know at each stage what everything is supposed to mean. I mean, maybe you have done systematic study, I don't know, but it's required if you have to understand this subject. Varsha. So serving parents is what needs to be done. And what you do as part of that should be in line with your goal of self-realization. See, serving parents is an act of gratitude. They have looked after you when you were so useless and so stupid that you did not even know how to feed yourself. A puppy which is born knows where to go to get milk. A human child is so stupid that if it's hungry, it just goes Wah! And expects that somebody will come and put the milk in his mouth. Humans are born entirely idiotic. When we were like that, somebody took the trouble to listen to our Wah! And do something about it. We were so helpless that had they not done it, we would not be here today. Then they spend their whole life after we were born worrying about us. No. So we owe them gratitude, right? So you can take it as part of BhaktiYoga as well, because gratitude is a large part of it. That you have so much gratitude for what people have done for you. Now, when you come to your obligatory duties, you have to know what is your Swadharma, what is your goal, how are you going to use your Swadharma to reach the goal. 90% of everything we do is based on our attachments, not on any goal. Actually, I'm being very kind. 99% of what we do is based on our attachments. If I like it, I do it. If I don't like it, I don't do it. That's simple. Yes, Omkar Bhandari.
Good morning, Janki ji. So just a question that these stories about gods have actually subtly reinforced an external idea about God, making it look like supernatural, and then devotees would tend to be a little overwhelmed by it. So is that perhaps taking the focus away from the practice in sadhana?
No, it all depends on what the person is doing. It is a good thing for them to in the Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga path that we are doing, but in the Bhakti Yoga path, they superimpose the thought of God so much in the hope that you forget about yourself. And if you actually do that, that's great, because you forgot about yourself, and that's the important thing. But what eventually happens is that you forget about yourself in the sense of you forget to do work, and you become mentally bound thinking that somebody is going to do all this for you. So you just have to basically say how great he is, and then he will take care of everything. Same in Jnana also. I mean, in every path we can go wrong. It's nothing to do with Bhakti, you can go wrong. In Jnana also. But the path itself is correct. That they build up their emotion so much that what Wordsworth says, that passion to excess was driven, that self may be annulled. In Raidomya, he has a beautiful line that passion to excess was driven, that self might be annulled.
So I think the interpretation of path may have, gone a little odd. Yeah, and that's why the devotees took it very literally instead of taking the symbolic message in it.
Yeah. And that happens because people go by the words. They don't stop long enough to think about what does this actually mean. Like Mahendra wrote as a sentence here. If you ask me this question, does Vedanta say that? Excuse me. Then I will have to answer that question by saying, yes, it says that. Now, if you don't stop and think, okay, it says that, but what does that sentence mean? then all we do is we keep repeating it. And when we keep repeating it like that, we don't know what it leads to. Sometimes a sentence like that leads to people focusing on themselves so much that they go in the opposite direction. So we have to stop and say, what does it mean? How does it fit into the rest of the knowledge? Is there any connection between all of knowledge and this particular line? Not like all independent ideas floating around, don't know which one is, sort of contradicting which. So it's a method of study. Why do you think I broke my thing saying, come to the July course, do systematically? Nobody listens to me. It's okay. I spend my life talking and nobody listening. Even now, nobody is listening. It's okay. Such is life. But
we have
unless we go about it systematically, the meaning won't be clear. Never will.
I think we have a
Sorry, go ahead.
I think we have an advantage that we can approach it intellectually, because our grandmothers and elderlies like to only refer it through rote memories and stories as compared to.
I don't know if we have that advantage, because some of the grandmothers, I know this lady, I used to stay with her when I went to Hyderabad. She spoke pure BhaktiYoga. Okay, she spoke the language, the common. But if you ever questioned her, her answers were all Jnana Yoga. It was very, I used to find conversation with her very interesting, because how is she able to convert what she's hearing into something commonsensical? I don't know, they did it. In fact, you know that famous story where Vivekananda said that the greatest jnani I knew was Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was totally Bhakti Yoga, right? All he spoke about was Kali, there's nothing but. But according to Vivekananda, was a Jnana Yogi. The greatest Jnani was Sri Ramakrishna. So any path we follow, we will reach the same thing. So grannies are not a disadvantage. Sometimes we are a disadvantage. So it's not necessary that they were wrong. It all depends on the person, what they put into it, what was their starting point, what common sense did they have. So.
Thank you.
Okay, what is here? Momita. So serving parents is what needs to be done. And what you do as part of that should be in line with your goal of self-realization. Is that taking up an action and superimposing a goal on it? Anything. I mean, this is what we always do. We, because it's not very clear to us what takes me to the self and what takes me away, I generally do whatever I like and claim that I'm doing this in the Lord's name. So there's no real progress. It's just like what should I say? It's just like tomfoolery going on. We claim so many things, but this thing regarding me as supreme, regarding the self as supreme, it is not even possible, friends. Because we're so full of desires. It's not really possible for us to do it. But at least we should realize that. Never mind that we can't do something. At least you should know that we can't do it. And then, of course, whatever struggle we do. So yes, in anything, we just superimpose. It's as stupid as saying, I'm going to walk on all day and hopefully I will understand astrophysics. Huh? Oh, can you hear the doorbell go? Sounds like Mahesh is here. You know, we are going now to see the plot, right? Bhajans written by Bhakt Narasimha is all about Jnana Yoga. Yeah, I mean, most of these Bhakti things are a lot of Jnana in them. Mahendra Singh, both Jnana and Bhakti Yoga must go hand in hand. Yes, Jnana, Bhakti and Karma, all three have to be done. It's all part of the personality.
Janki ji, one question regarding what we discussed earlier. This Uttara's question. No? Now my question is: a butcher can realize the self. Butcher.
There's a lot of disturbance on your line.
He's asking, can a butcher realize that?
Can a butcher realize himself? Of course, a butcher can. Why not? Anybody can. There is no swadharma which is going to prevent you from realizing. The point is, how are you using that? It's like saying, can I become a millionaire by starting a business in plastics? Or can I become a millionaire by starting a business in IT? Or in coal or something? You can become in anything. The thing is, how are you connecting it? What field you enter, it doesn't determine whether you're going to become a millionaire or not. It is what are you doing in the field that determines whether you become a millionaire. Can I study mathematics and become a millionaire? Yeah, of course. Anybody can be a millionaire. Or I should say billionaire. No, now anyone can be a millionaire. So it depends on how you are connecting it. Is that not clear? Is it clear? Am I being clear? I can't be clear beyond the point, because really all of you have to get up, think about it and study it, and when you think about it becomes clear.
Hariom Janki ji, I have a doubt. Can I ask? I just analyzed, and I feel that none of my activities may help me in self-realization. Whatever I do in terms. So how that connect, whether I work, I know I work, we have to do, whether it is working out or pursuing my hobbies, but is it like you only have to be in the field of spirituality to reach there? I do not know how that connection, because it's very difficult for me to understand. Yes, it has, every task has to lead there, but I'm not able to see the connect. That's it.
So
Thank you.
that is your hobby. That is what you must see. How are you doing? For instance, you go play badminton. And why am I playing badminton? What is the real reason? Suppose you say, because I want to be very fit and look very nice, and then hopefully some very nice girl will like me, so that's why I play badminton. Then at least you have to know that's what you're doing. Or you could say, I'm playing badminton because I have to keep this body fit, because without a fit body, how will I do anything to achieve realization? So what is the reason that you are doing it? Is something you must know. Why am I going to work? Why am I
Understood,
earning money?
understood.
Everything, I have to connect it. It is my personal journey, right? In fact, at the course, I'm planning to do this. Maybe we can do it in the class also. It's still difficult to do these things online, but maybe we should. Maybe each one should make for themselves a sort of workbook. Make a sort of file, a box file. I told Neeru, we are getting a box file, no, for the course. We get a box file, put about 25 sheets of paper in, and write over there, what are all the things that you want in your life? First, make that list at least. What is all those things? And then try to see if there is, how many you can connect or whatever. It's a full exercise that you need to do with your own life, so that you know what you're doing, where you're going, what are you planning to do about it. You cannot jump from where you are. See, none of us can do that. We are all where we are. We can't jump from here to something else. But we have to know where we are. We have to know what are the stages. We have to know where we are finally getting. And we have to remember one very important thing, that it can't always connect before. Sometimes in life, the dots connect only after the event. So this is a sort of, what should I say? It's there somewhere in the book on happiness. I heard Steve Jobs say it first. He said that in some lecture he gave, he said, I was very interested in IT, I was very interested in calligraphy. So he took a course in calligraphy. Now, when you think about calligraphy, like what is it to do with his IT, right? And yet finally, when he made Apple Computer, when he set this whole thing up, the beauty of that, the fonts and all the beauty of the Apple products have come because of his interest in calligraphy. So how it all joins together, sometimes you don't know in the beginning. I can also say, like, many years ago, a decade or two ago, it came to my mind that I should do a PhD in Vedanta. And there was no point. What am I going to do with a PhD, right? Like, for what? I mean, who is it? Any one of you all find out whether I have a PhD or not before coming to class. Nobody's bothered whether I have a PhD. But it was very strong in my mind that I have to do a PhD. So I did it, I got the PhD. Now, so many years later, when this idea, whole thing about university and all that came, this has become a, like a sort of, what can I say, a base necessity, not like it is assumed that you have this. That's an interesting thing, how things connect later on.
Yes, even if you want to teach other people, they would want you to have a PhD before you could train somebody else.
So I mean, sometimes it connects backwards. So don't worry so much about connecting it, but at least put it all down so that you know all the things that you want and you're able to work for them. Of course, we'll do them when we come to July. We'll do this in a little more detail and all that. But even those who are doing it online can themselves try and do this. That much be clear. What are we doing? Okay, so what is this? Malti. So even if you dislike doing something, you should do it because it's the right thing to be done. If you believe and know it needs to be done to get to your goal, yes, of course, you have to. For instance, most common example that every one of us are going through probably right now is filing your IT returns. Does anybody find it interesting to do? Does anybody think, hey, wow, what fun, we have to file our IT returns? No, but we do it, no? Because you will land in jail if you don't do it. So similarly, you have to
it's not even like some people say, oh, you're being, even if it's hypocritical, it's not a question of faith or you just, it's better to do it.
Yeah, what other people say is the first thing.
Exactly. No, but your intention, the action is more important, let's say, sometimes than the intention is what I was saying.
Why would you say that? Why was the action is never more important than the intention? Why would you say that? Suppose you say, I think that to realize the self, I have to do action X. I don't feel like doing it. And somebody tells you, you're being very hypocritical by doing that action. He says, no, that action has to be done. So you did not consider the action more important. Your intention is still to realize that.
No, okay, got it. So even if I dislike somebody, but I went and visited them in hospital or helped them in an accident, it is the intention was to help. Okay, got it. Yes, thank you.
Momita, our culture also determines our attachments and force fitting of actions to the goal. Like filial devotion is very Indian. In America, we have films where parents avenge their children as their duty. Avenge their children as their duty means?
Like there are quite a few films where the child has died or in an accident or something, somebody has wronged their children. And so the parent takes it on themselves to bring them to justice.
So why is that not part of the duty to the child?
No, I mean, we force fit an action and see it. This is something we want to do, but we make it look like it's a very righteous or morally justified thing to do.
Yes, that is true, but I don't know why you're using this example, because if somebody did something, harmful to your children, that you would take action, I suppose, would be necessary, because that person who did this harmful thing to your child will go further and do it to other people's children as well. So it would be extremely taxing to take action, but they did, so that's a good thing.
No, that's a good thing. No, I mean the intention behind it, like in India, many of us, because we feel embarrassed if we don't take care of our parents, maybe, because that's considered, or we are more worried about what people will say. I meant it in that line of thought.
Yes. So
Yes.
yeah. So if it's for that reason, it's a very silly thing to do. Bharat, isn't self-realization too big a goal for almost everyone? I mean, whether the answer is right, yes or no, why is it relevant? It's for everybody, it may be anything. I mean, for Wimbledon, maybe too much for anyone, or becoming Warren Buffett may be too much for anyone, or having a goal also. Why would I go so far as self-realization? Having any goal is sometimes too much for people. In fact, the only people who seem to have any kind of goals are people who are in the corporate life. And their goals are entirely selfish. And the rest of the people are just chugging along in some mechanical way. So is self-realization too big a goal for almost anyone? Maybe, may not be. Goals, 95% of people don't have a goal at all. Self-realization, selfish, anything. So having a goal itself is a big thing for most people. But so what? Let it be too much for most people. Becoming Warren Buffett is too much for everybody, but it wasn't too much for him. Self-development would be a more realistic one to aspire. We don't make rules like that, Bharat, for people. Everybody will aspire for whatever they want. We cannot tell anyone anything. Then regarding that as supreme becomes realistic. Well, whatever your goal is, you are regarding that as supreme. When you don't have a goal, that also you're regarding as supreme, because then you're regarding your comfort as supreme. Why do people not have a goal? If I take a random thing, any random person, if I ask in class, what is your goal? And say, oh no, I don't want a goal, it's too much work. Or I want a nice goal like self-realization, where kuch bhi karo, it's acceptable. You don't have to show results. So nobody wants a good thing. They say, too much pressure, too much pressure. What do you mean too much pressure? That is the pressure, it will make you grow. So we are not deciding for others whether it's self-realization is too much or too little, or whether they should have self-development, or whether they should choose Wimbledon or whatever. All we recommend is, please have a goal, any goal. We are really desperate. We cannot act pricey at all. So we say, okay, Baba, chalo, kuch to goal rakho. If no goal in life, have a goal for the next 5 years. 5 years we nahi kar sakte, to goal for 1 year to rakho. Kuch to karo. We are willing to do a lot of compromise around this place.
The pressure is initial, in the initial stages, or it will sustain all throughout?
It depends on whether you keep on elevating your goal or not.
So every time I elevate my goal, I'm going to feel the pressure.
Of course. If you don't feel, then what elevation you do? It should always be like, oh, hell, what did it just do? It should hit you that you've been a complete idiot. Like you start doing Vedanta University, you're a complete idiot. Who told me to take on this nonsensical thing? You should feel like that. Then you're doing something.
And the pressure comes because the other desires that I have are being blocked.
The pressure comes because it becomes too much for your intellect to handle. All aspects become too much for your intellect to handle. Whatever you are currently handling, you're not comfortable. And so that's your normal life. But the moment you up it, now your intellect no longer knows how to handle these various factors. It could be desires, it could be external things, it could be a host of things, it could be capabilities, you have to build capabilities. So many things are involved now. Every time you increase the goal. So, so that's the pressure, that you're not able to handle things. When you're in your comfort zone, you're able to handle it, so no pressure. In fact, the sad thing is we think that there is pressure when we take up a goal. We don't recognize that our comfort zone is comfort with agitations. We just don't seem to get this. And that when we increase the pressure of work, the pressure of agitation will come down eventually. But we don't recognize that, because that what should I say? Suppose you live in a dirty room and you're used to your dirty room, you're very comfortable in that dirty room. And then when you go to a 5-star, you will start feeling a little uncomfortable. And when you get used to that 5-star, you won't be able to come back to this dirty room, because it's only too much. But then why did you put up with it in the beginning? Because it just becomes your comfort level. Whatever sorrows, troubles, madness we have in life, at least we're used to it. And therefore we're comfortable.
It's very scary.
Very scary. The moment you think about these things, you are terrified. That's why nobody wants to think about them too much. The biggest risk is not taking any risk. Yes. Omkar Bhundare. If self-realization is ultimate happiness, so unknowingly it is the goal of every human being. However, they may be trying in the wrong direction. Yes. Don't say they, say we. We are all trying in the wrong direction. We just don't prioritize. Now that was a very long explanation regarding me as supreme. Regarding me as supreme means you have actually decided this was the most important thing. You must decide in your life, forget this, you must decide in your life what is the most important thing and be honest about that. What according to you is. And at least pursue that, whatever it is. Let it be money, let it be family, whatever in the world it is, do it. And then hopefully one day you will grow out of it. Meditating on me with single pointed yoga. We can't go beyond supreme on each time we are stuck over there. So the highest is meditating on me, single pointed. Thinking of me all the time. Thinking of me all the time and mechanical repetition. Every time I went to do something, I asked myself, is it taking me to my goal? That is thinking of me all the time.